This poem begins by addressing a lover of the poet. So the poet asks if they should compare their lover to a summer's day or to a day of summer. So, shall I compare thee to a summer's day? So, shall I compare you to a day of summer? Then they say that thou art, or you are, more lovely and more temperate, more lovelier and more temperate than a summer's day, milder and lovelier, in other words, than a summer's day. Summer, it's hot, it's sticky, it's kind of sweaty, but the person the poet loves is milder, more temperate, in other words, and lovelier. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May. So rough winds shake the trees in summer. So darling buds is trees. The buds of the trees, in other words. The dear buds, so darling is dear buds of the trees, meaning trees overall, of May, which in England is obviously summer. So the trees of summer. So in summer, rough winds shake the trees. Unlike my lover who is perfect all the time, in other words, or who isn't shaken by rough winds. And summer's lease hath all too short a date. So summer is too short, is really what that's saying. So summer's lease, a legal metaphor, the lease of summer, in other words. So the lease for as long as summer lives, or lasts. A lease is like a term in which something lasts. So summer's lease hath all too short a date, date being duration. So summer's time is too short, or summer lasts for too short a time. Sometimes too hot the eye of heaven shines. So sometimes summer is too hot, and the sun shines too hot. So the eye of heaven is the sun. It's the eye up above. The eye that watches us from heaven, the sun, in other words, and it shines sometimes too hot. And often is his gold complexion dimmed. So often is his gold complexion, or the golden light in summer, dimmed. Sometimes it's too not as gloriously gold and shining as it always is. Sometimes it shines less brightly. And every fair from fair sometime declines. So every fair thing, every beautiful thing, so fair means beautiful. So every beautiful thing sometimes loses its beauty, or does lose its beauty, by chance, or nature's changing course, untrimmed. By chance or by accident, or nature's changing course, so the course of nature, or the passage of time, in other words, untrimmed. So unfit for the accidents or the passage of time. So it loses its beauty over time, or the change of history makes it seem less beautiful. But thy eternal summer shall not fade. But your eternal summer shall not fade. The summer that eternally lives in you, the summer you eternally represent, will not fade, will not lose its beauty, nor lose possession of that fair though, so it will not lose its beauty. So possession, that fair thou owest, that the lover possesses. So the poet is addressing the lover, thou meaning you. The fair you owest is the beauty the lover owes. So owes means owes, or possesses, in other words. So you will not lose possession of the beauty you possess. Nor shall death brag thou wanderest in his shade, nor will death brag you wander in his shade, or count you among his number, when in eternal lines to time thou growest, when you live in immortal lines that I write, and that are passed down through history, is really what that's saying. So you'll grow in eternal lines to time, or lines that will last the test of time, such as the lines of Shakespeare. So long as men can breathe, or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee. So as long as men are alive, or humans are alive, and can see things, this lives as well, and will grant you life, will make you alive by people reading about you and learning about you through the lines that Shakespeare writes. So he's saying essentially that his work is immortal, not necessarily a modest claim, but one backed up by the fact that he's been remembered for all of time up until now. And as long as he's remembered, so is the lover in the poetry he writes.